Okay, great. Welcome everybody to Think Differently. Oh, for those of you who just joined, let me just pop my links in the chat before I forget so you can see them. If you're here live, say hi. Please feel free to communicate with me in the chat. Please feel free to use it to ask questions, answer questions. Oftentimes I find sometimes other people will answer the question. So let me just let one more person in. So please feel free, like I'm here to talk and share, and I can talk for the whole hour, 45 minutes. We'll be running like 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm here and can do that. And generally when you come live, it's just the richness of it is so much easier because you can ask questions and, you know, kind of tell me what kind of information you want to know about. So let's make it a little combo if you like. Okay, so a couple of thoughts here. I've got a couple of little announcements before we jump in. First off, today's topic is what's actually working right now and what to take into 2026 to grow your revenue. So we're going to be talking, I've done several live streams like this where I've talked about kind of what I see as the state of the industry, especially for small businesses and online businesses. So I'm not going to dive too much into that. I'll do just a quick recap, just to level set. But if that is a topic that you would like to dive in deeper to, just go into any email that you've gotten from me. Please don't put this in the chat because I will not see it. But any email that you've gotten from me, either the Calendly confirmation that confirmed your sign up for this today, or when the replay goes out next week, if you want to just hit reply to the replay email. Any email you get from me, just hit reply. It goes straight to my inbox, and I'll send you a copy of that live. And I'm actually there's a couple that I will reference. So if there's any previous lives that you want the replay to, just hit reply, tell me what you want, and I will be happy to get that to you. So that's what we're talking about today. And next week, not next week, 2 weeks from now, same time, I'm actually doing a very similar, I've done this a couple times now. I did this about this time last year. I did it again like in the spring. And then here we are again, today we're really talking about like themes that I'm seeing, what's working generally speaking. By the way, all my work is one-on-one with clients. And so when I work with my clients, like we are not being general, we're being very specific, and everything is customized to them. I'm very big on finding what works for your business versus like just working a strategy that somebody else has said is great. That's awesome. All strategies work for the most part if you work them and iterate them and make them work and make them your own. But if something's not aligned to you and your skill set, it just makes it almost virtually impossible to keep going in a sustainable way. And so all that is that's my work, but all that is to say, so much of the work that I do is super like focused and customized. And what I'm doing today is what I've really done and challenged myself to do is to pull out what are the themes that I'm seeing just across the board, across industries, across my clients. I do a lot of networking. I'm in touch with a lot of people. I'm a one-on-one business coach. Like there's only so many people I can serve one-on-one. But I'm also pretty in touch with the industry, I think, because I do have a pretty broad network and I stay in touch with them. And so I feel that what I am sharing is what I see kind of rising to the top of commonalities. And that said, please take what serves you and leave the rest. Please take what applies to you and leave the rest, right? I can't coach everybody here individually. We've got 9 people live. I can't coach everybody individually right now specific to your business. So your job is to listen and see what applies and drop what doesn't work, what's not applying to you, and keep what does. But in 2 weeks, the next one is going to be really like a similar conversation, but behind the scenes of my business, like a year in review of my business this year. I think that you'll see today, I'll share a couple of client examples, or I'll try to, but I always have a hard time sharing client examples because one, I don't want to get too specific and give away their anonymity. And And two, so therefore, I often think that just using my business as a case study is very helpful. And I have gotten lots of feedback from all of you saying, please do more behind the scenes. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a 2025 Laura Livingston coaching behind the scenes in 2 weeks. So the link is in the chat if you want to sign up for that one. It's already available to sign up for. I think it's the 18th, but it's two weeks from today. Or if you're watching the replay, it should be in that same email. Okay. Couple of more announcements. First off, I always give away a free mini coaching session for people to incentivize you all to come join me live. I really love these events, and they are so much richer when we have people show up. So I'm not above a good bribe. So if you would like to be entered to win a free mini coaching session, one-on-one time with just me, 30 minutes, just hit enter, just type enter me in the chat. This is only for the live participants. Hit enter me in the chat, and then I will, anytime you come and you enter yourself, you're entered to win, and you have multiple entries every time you come. And so your name essentially stays in the hat. But I usually draw one name at the end of every month. This month I'm drawing 2 names. So you've got 2 chances to win. And also, if you drop in today, your name will stay in the hat for next year. So you might even win, like, I don't know, in March or something. So if you'd like to enter yourself for a free mini coaching session, please do that in the chat. And I had one more announcement. Bear with me. Let me just check my notes. Oh, I have availability. So I am full at the moment for December, but I've sold 1 spot for January already, but I've got 3 spots right now available, 3 additional spots available for really a combination of January and February start dates across January and February. 1 for February, 2 more for January. If you're looking for a business coach, whether you're looking to build your business, grow your business, scale your business, or make some sort of pivot or adjustment. I work with people at all levels of business, all kinds of industries. We really just need to be a small business, and you need to love the work that you do, or you need to want to love the work that you do. And I find that so often people come to me when the work itself they love, like for me, it's coaching. But they don't necessarily love running their businesses, or they don't love a certain aspect of their business. And oftentimes that's where the rub is, that's where the clash is. If we're working too much, if we're burning out, if we don't have a team that's right fit and supports us, if we are spread thin across our marketing channels, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. That can really pull us out of, even when you're doing work that you love, if the business isn't set up to have the love as well, it can just be really challenging. And so that's the work that I do, and I work only one-on-one with my clients. So I have all of those spots could be either a 6-month coaching program with me one-on-one, or I also have a 1-week strategy intensive where we can focus on one specific topic. So New Year, we could do like a strategic planning conversation. I also use those a lot of times either to map out a specific marketing and sales strategy that's simple and easy to execute for you, that's built for you. We'll use those for that a lot, and then we'll also use those intensives to really dive into your offers as well, especially if you're needing to refine something, or if you've got a new offer that you're putting out. It's another great opportunity for that one. Okay, enough of my announcements, which is, let me actually finish that one. If you want to work with me, whether you're interested in looking for, like, you want one of those first of the year spots. After that, I don't know what my availability is going to be. It's going to depend on my renewals of my existing clients. But if you're looking for one of those, if you think one of those spots might be yours, or if you're thinking, hey, sometime next year, I would really like to have a business coach, now is a really good time. Now, or January is a really good time to just hop on a free discovery call with me and start talking about it. Oftentimes I will help people to even just decide, like, when is the right time, and now is not always the right time. And so that's a really important piece to know. Okay, let's get into it. Let me just double check and see, are there any questions? I didn't really, just want to double check this really fast. Okay, I see some enter me's, yay. Oh, good. Oh, thank you for telling me who is MacBook Pro. That's good. Okay. Let's jump in. So again, I've done a bunch of sort of what I'm seeing in the industry. Today we're really talking more about like, so what do you do about it? And especially how do you grow your revenue more in 2026? Like what are we taking from 2025, into 2026? So I've talked a lot about like what is. Today we're going to talk about what the hell to do. But let me just quickly recap just a few themes that I think are important. If you haven't been around, if you don't know all of these things, it's really kind of the basis for which I've created these decisions or these sort of recommendations. So really, really quickly, I'm just going to run through these. First off, we have a saturated market, and I'm speaking I work with small businesses. I work with small businesses who are running at least a portion of their marketing is online. So a lot of them are solopreneurs. A lot of them are small teams. Some of my clients are working towards their first $100,000 for the year. Some of my clients are in multi-million dollars with like an agency model and a team, and really everything in between. But what I'm seeing for the vast majority of industries of small businesses and online businesses is that the market is saturated, meaning there's a lot of people. There's a couple of specifics that I won't go into, like there's more coaches than ever. There's more people, actually I will just quickly, there's more people quitting their corporate jobs and entering the space. They may or may not stay, right? Like think about when you started your business. Like in some ways this was a little trial run. So some people are entering and they will eventually leave, or some of them are leaving this year. So I think, I don't know, I feel like people are saying like, this is a year where people are closing their doors. And I've said that and I see that. And that's also just kind of normal. And I think that's important to say. Like it doesn't mean to be, we can take that as a doomsday. And yes, things are different this year. And I think it takes more to generate results this year and last year, frankly, than it did like 2020 and 2021 if you were in business back then. But also everybody's got like people who are coming into this space, they have to try it, and it is not for everyone. So there's but point being, there is a saturation in terms of number of people, which just means there's more competition. AI and AI generated content, especially online, is creating, I don't know about you, but I personally don't enjoy as much, or I have to work harder to create a newsfeed that I enjoy, right? There's just a lot of crap out there and a lot of people that are using AI to generate their content, which I'm not going to talk about today, but I think please feel free to do that, but also don't do it just in a vacuum. Please make sure that you then tweak it for your own voice, because when you don't, it's just a thing that people scroll past, and people are getting onto that now. And then also with the saturation is of course the algorithms are changing no matter what platform you're on, and specifically a lot of them are lowering reach as well as lowering your reach to your existing followers. So it's just more, it takes more in a saturated market. Another way to say this is it's a buyer's market. So for all the reasons I just said, it's a buyer's market, right? Think about the real estate market. It's just a buyer's market. It has been for a couple years now. So some of that is the saturation, some of that is additional competition in AI, some of that is all the things that I said. Some of it is also just that the buyers are more discerning. I think the sort of increase of people online, especially in 2020 to 2022, were so big, and also that was about the time that online purchasing and businesses kind of lost a little bit of the taboo, and people were like, okay, this is cool. I can buy from a freak online, like from a weirdo I've never met online, right? Like pre-2020, that was still a little bit of an issue. And so then we kind of had this like, whoo, people are buying and like all this stuff is happening. And now we've sort of like adjusted into this life, this way of being. And so for that reason, buyers are more discerning. People have had bad experiences in the last 5 years. That's also why buyers are more discerning. The coaching industry has lost a lot of trust. I think the online space as a whole has lost a lot of trust with just some bad actors and unethical practices and selling something and making promises and then not following through with that. Or like if I were to, I sell one-on-one coaching, but if I were to like sell you into a coaching spot and then like give you to another like a coach on my team, that's not me. Like a lot of those kinds of practices that people aren't thrilled with, nor should they be. And so people are more discerning, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think discernment's really important. And all of that is creating a little bit of a trust issue, understandably so. So saturated market, buyer's market, and then the other piece that I want to just speak to, again, I could go into too many details, but is just the overwhelm, right? We are not any longer sitting at home on our couches during the pandemic, bored at home and consuming either online courses or content in general on social media or what have you. We are, with AI, is like, we have so much change happening in our world. We have the news cycle is like a breaking news every 30 minutes. We cannot absorb that. We were not built, our brains, our humanity was not built to absorb that much information, especially that much bad information all at once. So we are overwhelmed, and that's also why it's harder and harder to, I don't want to even say harder, but it requires more energy and effort to put out good content, to get eyeballs on it. And also, like, just if you serve like people in corporate, if you're not serving business owners, you know, a lot of the corporate businesses were letting people work remotely. That's not the case anymore. They're all back to work. Even the ones that kind of lasted for a couple of years, a lot of that, not all are back to work, but a lot of them are back to work. And so just, there's a lot of information going on like never before. And so people are overwhelmed. And that's causing some changes as well. So I just wanted to level set that. Please let me know if that makes sense. If you have any questions with that. Like I said, if you want to hit reply to if you want to hear more on that topic, just hit reply to any email and I will send you the replay. Okay, I'm just going to adjust my notes here. Okay. So with that said, if that's the sort of water that we're swimming in this year and really last year too, what's actually working? And I want to say just quickly, as I said a minute ago, like these are ideas that I'm getting from this. What I'm sharing with you today are kind of like common themes that I'm seeing rise to the top in terms of what's working with my network, with my business, with my clients. The vast majority of my clients are either making about what, like sustaining their revenue from last year or growing it. So just to say, like, this is not a year where, at least in my business, everybody's having a really hard time. Like, that's just not what's happening. Several clients have come to me this year to help them really create some comebacks. And we've absolutely done that. And so all that is to say, like, we could doomsday the crap out of what's happening in the industry, but the truth is, if it's just a buyer's market, we just have to do different things. We just have to stay focused, and I'm going to talk to you about what these things are. We just have to do the same things differently, is another way to look at it. And so I'm hopeful that, and the other thing I should say is last year was my second best year in business ever, and I surpassed that revenue by I think it was July. So this is my next second best. This is also my second best year in business, which means I surpassed last year. So it's not just my clients, it's not just me, it is other people that I'm seeing in the industry. But I also see that some of these changes are making it harder for people if they're not aware of it. Okay, so first thing of what to do, I only have 4 things because I'm keeping it. My job with people being overwhelmed is, I feel that I need to be a little less long-winded. I'm a very long-winded person, which I think makes me a good coach. But I'm trying to be more succinct, but I'm also trying to keep it simple, because if I give you 27 things today, like, you're back in overwhelm. I haven't served you. And I really, really think that I think I went through these and I really forced myself to go, is this true for every single client of mine right now? Is this true for every single client of mine from this year? It really is. And so if you're annoyed by the fact that I'm not giving you something interesting, I think we oftentimes in these moments, we want a magic bullet. We want a secret answer. We want to know what we're missing. And it doesn't mean that you're not missing something. You might be missing something in terms of something in your business that you aren't seeing with the right perspective. But there's no secret. It's not like if you work with me, I'll give you my secret formula. Like, there's no secret. There's just business principles and how to apply that to your, as I said at the beginning, how to apply that to your skill set, your business, your audience, your time, your work style, and your season of life and business. That's truly all it is. It does not need to be overcomplicated. And so if business feels complicated, please allow me to oversimplify it for you, because it truly can be this simple. Okay, enough prefaces. What to do. Number one, what's actually working right now is doubling down on your marketing. I'm not saying more posting, more, I'm not saying generating more volume. I'm saying if we're looking at what are we doing strategically as CEOs, the people in my world that are having great years, myself included, we are doubling down on our marketing. And I have a couple of specifics around that. So again, back in 2020, 2021, we could get away with kind of a haphazard strategy. One of my clients said it really well when she first started working with me this year. She said, I'm doing all these things, but I have no real strategy. And some things I think I'm doing are quite strategic, but I actually think I just kind of fell into it. I didn't like sit down and intentionally plan it. And I want to feel that confidence. I want to feel that I am moving forward with strategic intention. Yes, Jackie says, I feel that, right? And so that piece, it can be as simple as, like with my clients, it can be as simple as us sitting down over 1 to 3 sessions and walking through what they're doing, and no to that, yes to that, kind of just like simplifying an existing strategy. But the confidence piece around that and knowing what to work on can be everything. So again, if you feel like you've got no real strategy, or you're like, I'm doing some stuff, but I don't really know what works, or I don't really know if this is the best approach for me, that piece alone is both a mindset and a strategy piece, but that alone will wear you out and send you on goose chases that you just don't need to. And so all that is to say, I'm blending into another one. Let me come back. All that is to say, if we as CEOs make a decision to double down on marketing and sales, but I'm gonna start talking about marketing. If we make a decision to double down on it, it doesn't mean we're generating more volume. It doesn't mean that our marketing is crappy. It doesn't mean we need to take our strategy and throw it out the window, but it does mean that we have to put more intention into it. We have to put more strategy into it. We have to put more time and focus on it. And actually what I'm finding works really well from a super tactical perspective is putting, for most of my clients, this is not everyone, but for most of my clients, myself included, putting out less content. So fewer posts or emails per week than is on your wish list that you wish you could, consistently execute on, or than you did before, and making each one of them better. So almost same amount of time and energy, maybe even a little more time and energy, but fewer posts, fewer pieces of content, and being super strategic in that. Nobody wants to do that, which is my second thing, but nobody kind of wants to refine and iterate. I am personally not a perfectionist. I am actually I'm very strategic, and I have my sort of structure, but I'm very type B. And I do not want to take a piece of content that I wrote and look at it again for a second or third time. I just don't want to. And I do. I have this year. And frankly, I think I started it last year. That has made a difference. It has made a difference, not to make it more perfectionist, but to make sure that I'm really doubling down on my marketing, really looking at the messages, making sure I have a CTA, making sure I'm selling myself the way that I should be. So marketing, you do need a strategy. If you feel like you don't have a marketing strategy, that is, again, I know that sounds super simple, but also your marketing strategy may just need to be tweaked and adjusted, right? We cannot keep our head in the sand with this much change happening all at once in the world and in business. It makes sense that things have to iterate and evolve, and it doesn't need to be a big change, but a small change, like I said, maybe even the same number of hours a day, but just fewer and better pieces of content, that matters. So that people don't scroll through. Back in 2020, it was a volume numbers game. And it was just keep putting stuff out. The algorithm cared about the number of things. It cares more about good content now. And so that's that's why, right? So same general strategy, but an iteration for 2025 and really now 2026 is needed. So you must have a strategy. If you don't, it shows now. And I think that's one of the number one things I can see between 25 and 2020, like in the last 5 years. It's like you could get away with some version of a strategy. Now you effing need a strategy. Like it's just that important. And I think that's what people are feeling and it takes more time. It takes more of your time to stress about, to keep recreating the wheel. Because when you don't have a strategy, you recreate the wheel, you spend time worrying about it. You are usually on multiple too many platforms or doing too many things at once because you're not really sure what's going to work. So you're just kind of like, I'm doing this thing and I'm doing this thing and I'm doing this thing and like versus like, no, I'm doing this and this is what's going to work for me and I'm just going to work it till it gets right. So you need a strategy. And the other piece that I want to share, and this is a little bit blending into my number 2, but these are found, obviously marketing and sales are like the basic, simple, foundational business principles and skills. And what I think, I said this in my recap of last year, what I think is actually really great about all these changes is that business itself isn't different. Networking and relationships still matter. Marketing and sales still matter. Like delivering excellent service to your clients still matters. And so those basic, simple things are where you need to be focusing. And then just finding the right levers to tweak and pull for your business is really the key here. It's not about doing a whole bunch of new shit. So marketing and sales have always been important. They will always be important. Like I don't know any business that doesn't put time and energy into their marketing and sales that isn't successful. Let me say it this way. I don't know any successful business that doesn't put time and energy, specific time and energy, not just some, not just haphazard, not just winging it, right? But like real time, energy and effort into their marketing and sales. I don't know any successful businesses that don't do that. And so these foundational principles are more important than ever. Okay. Quick thing on sales, and I'm going to move to number 2. The piece about sales that I have seen, again, I could talk about changes that you could make to your sales process all day, but what I see this year that rises to the top with myself and my clients is specifically, we have longer, I don't know if I said this before, we have longer sales cycles is one of the sort of things that are happening as a result of all the overwhelm, the algorithm changes, all the things I said. If we have longer sales cycles, not everybody, I don't want to create like a story here, but like for the most part, if you're feeling like WTF, then probably that's affecting you. It's certainly affecting me it definitely makes it harder. Generally, if you have a one-on-one model and or a high ticket model, I have both. That will increase your sales cycle just naturally, right? It takes longer for you to decide to work with me one-on-one for 6 months for almost $10,000. But I think what's important is it's still, I'm just going to keep beating that drum. It's still working. But if I think that my sales cycle is supposed to be shorter and someone should say yes sooner than they do, then I'm just leaving money on the table. And so adjusting your adjusting your business actions, I'm going to talk about one of those in a minute, to account for those longer sales cycles and tracking your data according to that. So for example, everything that I'm doing right now, I'm not saying that one of you couldn't like sign up to work with me tomorrow, like 100%. And everything that I'm doing right now is most likely going to generate results in March. We're at Thursday, December 4th. Okay. For those of you watching a replay, everything I'm doing right now is most likely going to be best evaluated in terms of the data, as well as generate more like actual results in like March or April, like 90 days plus in advance. So right now, let's do it a different way. Right now, the results that you're getting in your business are usually a result of the work that you did 90 days plus ago, like 3 to 6 months ago. Again, especially for one-on-one, especially for high ticket, but this is true for all of my clients, almost all of my clients. And so evaluating success and our progress according to an appropriate time frame now is incredibly important. Because can you see how I could miss a sale if I'm just like, I think somebody is a no because they haven't responded yet and it's just a longer sales cycle. Okay, so that's number 1. 2, 3, and 4 are a little bit faster, but I wanted to at least set that stage. That is, and again, if you're like, seriously, lady, you're telling me to double down on marketing and sales. Yeah, like that's literally what I'm telling you. Like, again, I should have said this at the beginning. Like, if you thought I was going to tell you something new and different and interesting and like sexy and like some new hot topic of like, this is what all the cool kids are doing, it's this new cutting edge thing. Like, you can do cutting edge things. It's not about, I'm all about innovation, but what's working right now is really the basic business principles, and the people who are willing to look at that are the people who are doing well. Okay, let me just quickly look at your chat, at your questions. When I say coaching, is that all coaching or specific industries? I think that was when I was talking about my clients, or the coaching industry in general. Oh, I was talking about the coaching industry. The coaching industry is going through a trust recession. But I also see small businesses online are also going through a trust recession. I sort of think and maybe it's because I'm a coach and I have I don't know, at least 50% of my clients are coaches or consultants, kind of that setup. That piece has really affected coaches and therapists and healers and it's actually not even therapists, it's coaches and healers. Yes, thank you. Regarding saturation and lack of trust. Yeah, okay. How did you figure out your sales cycle length? I just honestly, I put a spreadsheet together and I've done this every year, of all my clients and when I first know that they were introduced to me. So it could be like when they first opted into my email list, or it could be when I met them in a networking event, just depends on kind of where they started. Let me say it this differently. Every client that signed up to work with me, I backtracked their process and looked at where did they come from. Did they come from a referral? Did they come from a networking event? Did they come from my email list? And what was that timeline from entry point into my world, from whatever I can track to the time that they purchased from me? And then I also look at the most important milestone is the middle piece, which is when did they book a sales consultation or a free session? And then I track that as well. And so if I just look at, so I've been in business since 2017. If I just say my business was different the first 2 years. So if I just say from 2019 to 2023, my sales cycles were shorter. And from 2024 to now, they're longer. I'm still having my second best year ever. This is not a problem. It's just we have to make adjustments. Okay. All right, so this next piece is, it's mindset driven. It starts with mindset. Something you will learn about me if you're new to me is that I approach everything from both a strategy perspective and a mindset perspective. I cannot separate the two. That is how I do my coaching. I have both human behavior and psychology background as well as a consulting and business background. So I always bring those two together. So this one is a little bit more mindset, but it really jacks up your actions if your mindset is messed up here, which is what's working. So again, back to just recap. Number 1, doubling down on marketing and sales. Number 2 is personalizing things that you could automate. And I'm saying could automate. This could be as simple as, I mean this in several different ways. So personalization. Okay, but I really want to say what I'm seeing that specifically that's working. Number 1, putting yourself in your marketing, saying things like, this is how I got blah, blah result, as opposed to how you can get blah, blah result, just to be annoying in a headline. People are more interested in, because buyers are more discerning, because there's a trust recession, they want to know the person that they're buying from, right? Think about all the boycotts that are happening right now. People care. They've always cared about the values of where they buy, but they really, really, really care now, as do I. And so we want to know who we're buying from, especially if you're selling something that requires a lot of trust. I'll use myself as an example, a one-on-one coach. And so if you're putting yourself in your marketing, that is one way to differentiate from AI. It's one way to differentiate from your client, from your competitors. It's just important. So the personalization piece. And again, that's one way that you can double down on your marketing. Nobody wants to hear me. Everybody gets mad at me saying this, and I've been saying this all year. This has always been important, but it is just, I feel like it might be, I feel like this is the most important thing I've seen all year: personal outreach and follow-up. Actually taking the time to send a personal, not templated, not auto-generated, not AI wrote it, I'm so sorry, personal, like you would write a thank you note to someone, like old school personal, I mean, send them an email or a DM, but like an old school personal message to someone, either reaching out to offer your services to them in a non-sleazy way, that's a whole another conversation for another day, or to follow up on a sales call, to follow up on something, some conversation that you've had, to follow up on them indicating that they're interested in something. Not many people are doing it. I find that when I do that, and I've doubled down, I've definitely increased that. I've always done it, but I've definitely taken it up a notch this year, and last year also. And I find that sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, thank you for this. I just realized this didn't come from your email newsletter. This came from you, right? And when you're doing those follow-ups, people can smell, just like people can smell the AI content, they can smell a templated email. So making sure that even if like the bottom half of the email is templated and copied pasted, like letting the top half be, hey, Laura, I loved meeting you at blah, blah today. I loved how you specifically said blah, 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 right? Like I would love to help you specifically blah, blah, blah thing for their business, right? Or their whatever it is that you help them do, but like specifically using their stuff, their example, their whatever. Not like I help businesses grow without burning out. So do you want to work with me, right? Like I could make that so general and I could send a personal email, but can you see how different that would be? Really taking the time and energy to do that. I just skipped. I've been talking about personalizing things you go. Okay. I skipped number 2. It doesn't matter. So putting yourself in your marketing, personalizing your outreach and doing that without like templatizing or over templatizing, personalizing your follow-ups. We just talked about that. The reason being, many reasons. 1, it just works. 2, people prefer a personalized touch. But 3, if we have longer sales cycles, what comes with that is we need, or buyers need more touch points. I cannot keep track of the data because it keeps changing, but like I want to say 2-3 years ago, it was like buyers need at least 7 to 10 touch points before, even if it's micro touch points, right? Like 1 email or whatever, micro touch points before they're likely to buy from you. That number is like 4 times that now or something crazy. Grain of salt. Point being, people need more touch points. And so a personalized message kind of gives them like 4 touch points in one message. And personalizing the things that you could automate, I think gets really confusing because everybody's telling you that you should use AI, to make your life easier. And I don't disagree, but that's the back end of your business, not the front end of your business. And I also think I think it's Rich Litvin. I don't know if anybody knows Rich Litvin. He's kind of like an old school guy who used to be, who's a coach. He coaches coaches. Anyway, he's been around a long time, and something that he said I think it was him that said a long time ago, like do things that don't scale to scale. And I just really love that. I think the personal outreach is a great example of that. Like the best way I can grow and scale my business is to spend time doing like manual admin things like sending a personal email to someone as opposed to some sort of templated email, right? As an example, it takes a lot more time, it takes a lot more energy. It's not efficient, right? And it fast tracks my sales process. And I'm just willing to do it, which brings me back to number 2, which I told you, like I did a whole like preface on this is all mindset, but this one's really important. Which brings me to the thing that I see that's working right now is if you're just willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. And I don't mean that like unethically. I don't mean anything in that realm. What I mean is doing the things like, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. If you're doubling down on your sales and marketing, that most likely means, especially if you've been, and I'm going to use this as a great example because I feel like this is such a common one. If you've been in business for more than a few years, and I say to you, hey, you probably should just double down on your marketing and sales and like really just dive in and spend real-time energy and focus refining it and tracking your data and refining it again. And like mastery is really a good way to articulate that. If I say that to you, oftentimes people will say to me, look, I'm not trying to be entitled, but I already did that 3 years ago when I started my business. Or I also did it a year ago. And so one, as I said about marketing and sales, like, I'm sorry, that's just always going to need to be a thing. But two, are you just willing to do it? Are you willing to just are you willing to just go there and do the things? I think it's also one of those, like, it's almost like we demote ourselves or like think that, oh, wait a minute, like I used to be in 12th grade and now I'm going back to 10th grade. Why do I have to go back? I already built these business foundations. And I don't think that to be clear, doubling down on sales and marketing is just taking what you already have and making it better and mastering it. So it's really like, this is the grade I'm in school and I'm going to prepare myself for maybe it's better to say like a promotion at work or something like that, right? To give you like another example, a metaphor. But we often think it means that we're like going back to 3rd grade, right? Or we're going back to build and we shouldn't have to do that, or something's wrong with us or our business if we have to do that. And so I think, again, this is just something that people who've been in business a long time, people who are successful in their small businesses, they are just willing to do that. They are willing to like literally get over themselves, right? And like, I say that with love, but like that really can be a thing. Do you just need to get over yourself? And like, please have all the feelings and the frustrations and the anger and hit a pillow and like process your emotions. I'm not saying like, don't like, please do process your emotions. You're a human. But if what your business just needs is you to go back to some basics and refine or rebuild or remaster certain pieces or adjust them so that they work in 2025 and 2026, you can do. And the best part about that is you can do it because you've already done it. You can freaking do it again. And so if that can be a helpful reframe for the confidence piece, that it can be a blow to your confidence. But the truth is, I don't know a single successful business owner that isn't doing that at some level. They're just willing to put their ego aside and go do it. And I think that's really, really, really important. Maybe my number one recommendation. A couple of other examples of being willing to do things that others won't is in my recap of last year, I actually talked about this. I talked a lot last year about building skills for building buyer's market skills as a CEO. There's a lot of, I could like list to you my, most important skills that we all need as a CEO. And last year, I talked a lot about how the theme that I saw with my clients is we were just building those buyer's market skills because a lot of us hadn't had to build them yet. And I talked a lot about how when you have buyer's market skills, which is this is literally what we're talking about today, you're freaking unstoppable because you have the confidence in yourself and in your business to deal with any kind of economy, with any kind of market. And so when we get back into a seller's market, like, holy shit, look out, here you come, because you've just planted all these seeds and you've mastered all these things and your marketing will just exponentially work for you. And so anyway, all that is to say, being willing to do things that other people aren't is building those buyer's market skills. That's a really, really important piece. And it's what really makes you, honestly, I think it's what makes you unstoppable. I don't know about you, but like the hardest times in my life, I would have happily skipped over them. However, They made me who I am, and they made me really have to double down on what was most important to me, or the most important relationships at that time, or what have you. Like, it really helped me know who I am, know what I want, know what I need, know what my values are and what I'm not willing to sacrifice. And I think buyer's market does that for a business as well. And so be willing to do what other people aren't, which is just lean into that and go, okay, what do I need to learn now? What is this year asking my business me to learn so I can keep my business thriving? Yeah, I already talked about go get over yourself and don't be too good for something. Like, most people in my world are much more heart-centered than that and not entitled, but I do think it's important to just recognize we all have a little bit of that in us, and I think that's what makes us take the risk of being a business owner. And like, I just think that's sort of the heart and soul of entrepreneurship, is having that like willingness to do that. But it oftentimes feels like, well, no, I just want to keep moving forward. I don't want to go backwards. This is not going backwards. This is like fortifying. And then another example of being willing to do things other people won't is just to offer free stuff to get people in the door. Like, it's just being willing to. So just a couple of examples. Your examples might be different for your business, but my question to you as you put your plans together for next year is really, what is your business asking you to do, like needing from you, and just, are you willing to do it? And I think that can really help. We need to be taken care of, and our business needs to be taken care of. And that's one place where I bet you what your business needs you can do, or you can do with help, or you can do with support, or you can do if you go take a course or whatever. Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to get out of your way and just put your ego aside, put your pride aside, and just roll your sleeves up and clean up the closet? I don't know why that's my example. Okay. Number 1, double down on marketing and sales. Number 2, be willing to do things that other people aren't or won't. Number 3, personalize things that you could automate. Oh, and I have a couple of client examples for the personalized ones that I want to just share. One client, we put together a new offer for her. I forget when it was. Anyway, we put together a new offer for her. She was mostly offering single sessions. And we put together a cohesive one-on-one, I think 3 or 4 month program for her coaching. And we put the offer together. We worked on the promotions, but before she even put it out into the world publicly, as she was still building out the final details, I encouraged her and I worked with her to go back to her existing clients that were like the people that were buying, repeat single sessions, and to offer this new program to them. And so she essentially pre-sold 4 slots into her high ticket program before it was even public, because she was willing to double down on, making those offers, her sales process, refining her sales process, right? Her low-hanging fruit was right there. She was willing to do things that other people won't. And she personalized things that she could have automated. She could have waited and put out her promotion to her audience and hoped that her other clients would just fall in and get that that's important, that that's a good offer next step for them. But instead, she just reached out to them personally. So she's a great one. Lots and lots and lots of just sitting down and identifying who could you reach out to personally that then book free sessions, discovery calls, one-off sessions, low ticket offers, those kinds of things to get them started in their sales process. And then another one of my clients, similarly she's a couple of different offers. I don't want to go into details because I want to keep this anonymous, but essentially what she did is she took 80% of her high ticket sales this year, which is three different offers. She's an offer suite. Her high ticket is the third, let's say. 80% of her high ticket sales came directly from personal outreach to clients in other offers. 80%. And she's full. She has filled that. She has no spots available left for that. Or she will have spots available as they renew, but she is completely sold out of that particular offer. And 80% of those sales came directly just from reaching out to individual people in those other offers. Okay, the fourth one, we talked about this a little bit in the beginning, and so I'm going to talk about this one quite briefly because we've just got a few more minutes. But as I said earlier, you need to have a strategy. But number 4 is have a clear and strategic focus. And that applies across the board in your business. And I just want to give you a couple of examples of what I mean by having a clear, specific focus. If you have an offer suite, multiple offers, what is your priority? What's your priority offer? And then talk about that one more. The other thing that I will say to clients, again, depending on your offer suite and how things work, this is a hard one to speak generally to. But if let's say you have a group program and you have one-on-one, like knowing what part of the year you're focused on selling the group, right, based on your launch dates or whatever, and knowing what part of the year your focus is to sell one-on-one, and then letting that be on repeat in your marketing and your sales so that your people don't get confused about what you're offering, so that we're not just always talking about you can book my one-on-one or you can book my group or you can come to my membership or you can do like people are overwhelmed, right? So like they need the focus just as much as our business does. And so being super clear and strategic, my group program launches in April. So from January to April, I am only talking about the group or only seeding for that group and how, I'm building that into my plan. And I'm not really talking about my one-on-one. And then as soon as I launch the group and that's running, then I'm only in my marketing talking about one-on-one as just a oversimplified example. Knowing that is really important so that your people always know what you're selling at any point in time. Even better if you have a primary focus and that's just all you talk about. Similarly, have a clear strategic focus when it comes to platforms. Platforms have changed so much in the last couple of years, and they've changed in different ways, right? Like, I'm just trying to think, like YouTube, Instagram, I think is a great example. How much it has changed with Reels and trending audio and the way that stories work. All of that stuff has changed in the last couple of years pretty significantly. It used to be like the photo image platform. And so all that is to say, it's a lot hard. Back in 2020, I was taking all my content and just repurposing it across multiple platforms. I still do that at some level, but having a strategic focus, i.e. a priority platform, is really, really important. If you're on multiple, like more than a handful of, even 5, I think is too many for most small businesses, you have to then start creating content for that platform. And that's just 1, inefficient, 2, disperses your energy and your time unless you have a big team. And 3, it disperses your ability to create traction. When you can focus on one offer and keep selling that offer and your people know that you're known for that offer, it makes it so much easier to fill up that offer. It just is a faster, easier, simpler way to do business. Same with platforms, right? I could focus on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn, for example. LinkedIn is my priority. That's where I'm growing. That's where I'm focused. That's where I spend time and energy growing it and nurturing it. And then I just also happen to be on Instagram because I have a lot of long-term sort of audience members from that. And so it doesn't make sense for me to drop it, but it is not my priority. And that helps me every day know what I need to be working on. I'm never creating content just for Instagram. I'm creating content for LinkedIn. Because they are different, like my performance on Instagram will tank. It will not do as well as my performance on LinkedIn, and that's okay. And that's by design. Just to use a simple example of just 2 platforms, I still have a strategy and a plan and a priority within that. And then therefore, I'm not mad at my Instagram performance and how my audience is growing or not growing. I'm focused on how are the numbers going on LinkedIn, and are they working, and are people clicking, and are people doing what I want them to do? Yes or no? Okay, great. Then my whole action plan is based around that. Is that making sense? Okay, I've got 2 more examples. Messaging we talked about already, actually, like putting your messaging, having a clear and strategic focus with your messaging, and then putting that on repeat so that you're adding those multiple touch points, either for that offer or for that platform or whatever message you're trying to get across. And And then this is kind of the opposite of like the personalization piece, but please autopilot what you can. So again, we're talking about focus here, right? So I mean, focus in your offers, focus in your platform, having a strategy, an actual strategy with your marketing, not just a hope so, spray and pray, spaghetti against the wall, doing 19 things. It's like, no, I just know that these are my 2 or 3 things that I'm doing. When you do that, it puts some things on autopilot. It puts some things on repeat for you in your work, in your like schedule, on your to-do list. And that makes everything more efficient. It helps you build your confidence. It helps you know what to work on this week. It helps you be more efficient. And most importantly, it removes the decision fatigue that I feel like that piece alone will spin most entrepreneurs out, because there are way too many decisions for you to have to make. Again, if you don't have that clear strategic focus, think about how many decisions I'd have to make if I was on YouTube and Instagram and, what's the one I love with the long form? Substack, which I love, by the way. But like, if I was on all of those, I would have so many micro decisions every day that I would have to make to then take my content and tweak it for each. It's too much. Even for me, I have a team, it's too much. And it doesn't generate traction because I'm in 5 different places. So when you have a clear strategic focus in your offers, in your messaging, on your platforms, as an example, it also can give you that, like, I just know what I'm working on this week, and I know what I'm working on next week, and I have less decisions to make, and I can make the same decisions over and over again, or I can take the same actions over and over again. I don't mean like copy paste like your content, right? But like the way that work gets done can then be automated, simplified. You can have SOPs and systems and processes to do that. That then makes everything feel so much easier and so much more doable. And my one client example before we go is I have a client who came to me about a year ago now. And when she started working with me, she had just closed one of her businesses and was focusing completely on her new business, which I think only had a few clients at the time. And she brought me literally a 13-page, no judgment here, 13-page document of all the things that she was doing from her marketing. And the very first thing I said is like, no, no, we have to shorten this. You cannot, no, and she was overwhelmed. No wonder, right? And she wasn't, so what we did slowly but surely is we just started picking things that she could focus on instead of all 13 pages. And I think it's down to like 1 page now. So point being, that isn't just like from a day-to-day standpoint, but it does, roll up, but it's also helped to just make all of her efforts more efficient. Sign more clients, which is I think the point. Okay, thank you for hanging with me. I know I went a whole hour. It's such a joy to see you guys here. Thank you for being here. If you are looking for a one-on-one coach, I would love to serve you next year. Grab a link. In fact, I will just quickly throw those links back in the chat. Just grab a quick call with me and I would love to serve you. And I'm very big on fit. We have to have some level of chemistry, and I promise you, if I don't think I'm the right person to help you, or if I feel like your business is a little bit out of the realm of my skill set, I have a lot of people in my network and I'm happy to refer you to the right person if I'm the wrong person. So truly my discovery calls are very exploratory, and I've actually had several people say, wow, just this one consultation discovery call really helped clarify for me what I need to do and what I don't need to do. So take me up on that. If you're looking for a coach, I would love to talk to you. I keep trying to say next week. In 2 weeks, I'll be talking about a little behind the scenes of my business and some lessons that you can take from that. And I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much. See you in 2 weeks. Yes. Bye.